First things first, guys. How are you?
We're good.
A little tired from the flight,
A little tired, yeah.
but good.
Happy to be here. It's so beautiful here.
Good to hear. Before we talk about the record, I'd like to jump back a little bit.
Okay.
You are both from DC originally.
Originally, yes.
Do you remember the moment when you decided to go to New York?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
It was 4 years ago, 4, and basically, Max and I had been touring with another group that was sort of like a garage rock band, and we've been living in DC our whole lives. We were sort of living at home and sort of sleeping on our friends' couches and shit, and basically I think that we got to a point where the DC scene just felt a little bit small.
Right.
And I think that, and as anybody gets to a point with the place that they grow up in, I think that it sort of started to feel a little bit stifling creatively. And I think that for us, moving to New York and to Rockaway specifically was very much about finding inspiration and like new energy.
Was it liberating or did it feel as a risk as well?
I mean, I think it was liberating and exciting because it was a risk. You know, I think like.
Yeah, we were playing music full time, and we gave that up to work jobs as waiters and busboys. And I think that there was a part of it where there was a moment where we didn't know if we were ever going to play music professionally again. That was obviously the goal. Yeah.
This might seem like an obvious question, but did you find inspiration in New York?
Very much so.
Oh, absolutely.
New York changed our lives.
Yeah.
Can you take me to maybe one incident or something that had an impact on you as musicians?
Malt Liquor?
In terms of like the preacher sound, or?
Go for it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, so.
Whatever story you want.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it was just like the whole experience of being there and just being like thrust. I felt like I was like in the world for the first time.
Okay.
You know, you're just surrounded by people from every part of the world, and everything's just moving. And I don't know. The problem is, I feel like those are all like cliche things to say. Like, I went to New York and it was big and crazy. But I mean, like, I guess the story that Dan was getting at was that in Malt Liquor, there's the sample of the preacher talking. And that was literally like a guy who was outside of a subway station near our house. And I had gotten into recording and sampling, and I started just taking sound recordings just from like people I heard in the streets of New York, and that was one of them. And we put it in the recording, and that sort of became another one of like the cornerstones of our sound.
Yeah. I mean, I think the city very much found its way into the music that we were making.
And you say there was a point where you thought you weren't sure if you would be able to make music professionally. So when did things start to click?
I think things started to click probably a year and a half before Loudy came out.
Okay.
And we were working in our apartment in a studio in Max's bedroom, and like all day, and then we'd go into the city and work at night. And there was a moment, I think it was Memories. I think when we've been working, we'd probably written 20 songs, and Memories was like the 21st.
Okay.
And there was something about the chorus and the production that Max did in the chorus that just like
I think it's just between
that was the first time,
like that style of guitar playing, which is very much oriented around like single notes and rhythms rather than chords, and the use of the sampled percussion sounds, the other like weird samples from New York City. Those sort of 3 or 4 things became the cornerstone of the sound. And I think Dan's right. Yeah, in Memories we were like, this is it. You know, this is the sound.
And in the years, maybe the 2 years leading up to that, what was the mentality? Because you said you were working regular jobs. So where did music sit? Did you have time to work on it?
It was all we did. Yeah.
It was all we did. It was like you wake up at 10 a.m., start recording by like 11 or noon, work on recording until about 6 p.m., leave, go work at a job from like 7 p.m. to like 3 in the morning, wake up and repeat.
Sure.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. No, there was definitely a point by the end of the process, like around the time that we finally released Loudy, where the past few months leading up to that, I think we were starting to like lose our minds a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have much of a social life. Like it was just like you worked at your job and then you worked on the recording, and that was life.
That was it.
I remember I canceled a date with my girlfriend one time, just to do more recording.
Okay.
And she's like, that's not even like a thing. It's not like you're canceling on me because you have like some doctor's appointment or something that just came up. She's like, this is just another day for you. And I was like, nah, it's that important.
You say that in a little, you were unraveling a little bit towards the end before things started to, before the song hit it off. And so did you set a deadline for yourselves, or was there a mentality of, okay, maybe we'll try for a year, and if nothing happens?
We were trying, but I also think that you sort of can't really set a deadline for yourself.
Hey, we'll take this during the interview.
Wow.
Keep that camera rolling.
Thank you very much.
Do you need me to put that over here?
Hey,
Put that there.
put this over here. There we go. They gave us a little macaron.
Cup number 4 of today. That's the other thing that helped make the record was
Coffee.
about 2 or 3 pots a day of Cafe Bustelo.
But the dream was still very much alive. It wasn't like.
No, I mean there was a point. There was also a point. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a producer out in Los Angeles, group called Casper and B, and he was sort of like my mentor in recording and production for a long time. And I remember talking to him, and he was like, "You do realize like this could be 4 to 5 years before anything at all happens." And that was sort of like my mentality. I was like, "This could just be ongoing for a long time," you know. And I think you sort of have to be that way. And then I think furthermore, in terms of like the recordings themselves, I think we definitely had the mentality of like, you know, we only got really one more chance at doing this.
Right.
You know, we've been in other bands. This is like our last chance, and we're not going to release it until we feel like we've really done it right this time.
And in hindsight, then, was it important to go through this, to so to say, hone your craft and kind of?
Of course.
100%.
100%.
I mean, there's definitely something I learned about the balance between perfectionism and respecting sort of the creative process and
where
also,
you're
like,
at as an artist.
And where you're at as an artist. Like, music at the end of the day is still just expression, and there is in some ways no such thing as a perfect song or perfect work of art. It's only perfect insofar as it represents accurately and truly.
Except for Bohemian Rhapsody.
Except for Bohemian Rhapsody.
Logically.
Logically.
Everything else is...
it's sort of just got to be like, if it's like very
it can
true.
be really good, but it will never be perfect.
Yeah.
So when Loudy was released, what were your, or when it kind of took off?
This coffee's so hot, I'm just going to blow on it for a while.
Were you expecting anything to happen with that track?
No.
No. We were. We actually.
No. we really weren't though.
Yeah, we had, to be clear, we had fully lost perspective, and we were so isolated. Like, we joke about it. It's like, at the time that Loudy was released, like prior to that moment, I think maybe 5 people in the entire world had heard that song.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we showed like our mixing engineer, his manager, we didn't have anybody, and then like our girlfriends at the time had heard it. So it's like, is it good? I don't know. The 4 or 5 people around me think it's okay.